Welcome back to Basel. It's 1-2. This battle of the stars and stripes. Roddick in flame red. And playing the part at the moment. Looked long.
It certainly did.
I think the radar gun was confused to give it 163. It was more like 263.
Yes. There's the kilometres, remember?
Yeah. Just missed. Interesting to see Roddick come forward again on that slice. Some quick fire serving, quick fire games. No chink in the armoury yet.
Well, when you've lost only 1 point on serve, you can afford to really go for an 187 km/h second serve. Wow. Mind you, he does that at the most daring and unlikely of times as well. See, Blake's thoughts aren't really getting into the net much. I don't suppose he will, mind you, if he attacks the forehand like that.
I just wonder with him if he's just a little bit overburdened with talent at the moment. I just don't really see the game plan. I see the talent, it's immense. But I don't think he's harnessing it as well as he could do. And it's strange to me for him, because you see him off court, he's such a stylish young man. Looks so mature, everything he says sounds so mature, and yet don't see that maturity on court. I must be missing it, but I don't see it. But boy, I see the talent.
Yes, I hear what you say. Of course, it doesn't necessarily mean that if your IQ is huge, that your tennis brain is there as well. In fact, I know quite a few people, no names, but who are extremely bright, but who had no brain at all on the court.
Oh, come on, that's a tease. Conversation between the two. Good shot, thank you. Was a shot there. That's it's worth a second look. And so far, it's the server who's winning the battle of the big hitters. And it's Blake who leads 3-2.
120 years since Thomas Edison invented General Electric, we've helped shed light on many of man's greatest discoveries. GE. We bring good things to life.
Back just in time to see Roddick spear down the serve. 2-3.
50.
5 titles to his credit, Roddick, including 2 this year, Memphis and Houston.
And in winning both those titles, one of his victims was James Blake. He didn't win too many games against, well, yes, in Memphis he did all right, 3 sets there. Houston just 6 games.
I guess it was the final in Memphis. Also got to the final in Newport, did James Blake, and won in Washington. And perhaps his best performance of his career in the semi-final there, when he beat Andre Agassi. And on his day, he is capable of whipping the very best.
Yes, that was a revelation, really, that match against Agassi. It's a pity the camera didn't capture Blake there, because he was indicating just what he thought of that lob to Roddick, and wondering why Roddick hit it so hard, I think.
I think Roddick just needs to release energy. There is so much energy inside him. I think it does him good. He is a bundle of activity. Blake looks serene in comparison.
Game.
195 outside, out wide.
And he does it from a stance of feet very close together. The left leg must take an awful lot of strain. Closer together than most, almost any other player. Blake much more conventional. Yes, I think that's the way to try and break down Roddick, is just concentrate wholeheartedly on that wing. Of course, he'll be looking to run around it, but if Blake times the ball well, there's no need for him to overhit. It'll be difficult for Roddick to do that. And he's a better volleyer than is Roddick.
Sorry, Prue, you were saying?
Well, it usually works the other way, doesn't it?
Having said that, he didn't volley too badly yesterday.
No, well, so much, of course, will hinge on the approach.
Roddick beating Melise yesterday in straight sets. Blake beating David Ferrer of Spain, both in straight sets.
Game. Blake. Blake leads 4-3.
But so far, no breaks, and it's 4-3 to Blake.
Peugeot 607 Feline.
So Roddick at 3-4 first set. And very good movement from Roddick.
50, left.
Well, it looked a clever play by Blake, just looking as if he was going to drive it, then playing the short one, but Roddick really has been moving well.
30, left.
And telling himself in the process too. Almost whipping himself into action.
40, left.
197 Ks, ace number 5.
Good catch off the boards by Blake.
Game 1. 14 shot.
I don't know how many strokes were in that game, but not too many.
Second love game of the match for Roddick. He really does get through them in a hurry with first serves in like that. Generally a fairly high serve percentage, high 50s, around about 60%. Blake much the same.
Left.
Although when I've watched Blake this year, the percentages have not been as high.
Left.
Playing against each other now, but later on this evening these two double up. They're a doubles team this week, as they have been in the Davis Cup. They took on Lucas Arnold and Gaston Etlis of the Argentine, the number 4 seeds.
40-50.
Must be a weird sensation. Two close friends. In fact, we were down at breakfast at the same time as these two, and they weren't on the same table. I don't think that's by coincidence. They are most days, but today might have been difficult.
Game 4.
Third ace for Blake.
Blake leads.
And once again, he nips into a lead, 5-4.
Drive on them bones, them bones, them. Drive on them bones, them bones, them. Drive on zoo. Well, the backbone connected to the hip bone.
Lots of leg room, plenty of headroom.
The thigh bone's connected to the
So much space that it can swallow a dinosaur whole.
ankle bone. The ankle bone's connected to the foot bone.
The spacious new Hyundai Getz.
Come on! Come on, come on! Can't handle it!
Click and Clean, dental care for in between. Click and Clean, and freshen up your day.
Really makes me feel good.
The Swiss Indoor Tournament with
Just missed the first serve, and a big one it was too from Roddick. 211 Ks, start of the 10th game.
Yes, I think Blake's a better returner than Roddick. The problem is Roddick serves so well, it's difficult for him to actually show that.
When Roddick's serving at 67%, there isn't a lot of hope. He's lost just a point when the first serve's gone in, has Roddick. Yeah, I thought he was going to do that. 182 kilometers an hour, second serve ace. Thank you very much, ace number 7. Another love game.
Yes, not really any change of position for Blake at all. He might try standing a lot further back, just give himself a bit more time to see the ball. Well, taking on the forehand and winning. Roddick went like that. Well, it's a low bounce, and that doesn't really help Roddick much. It really was pretty harmless. I pointed out yesterday against Rosetsky at Wimbledon with the low bouncing grass. The backhand couldn't get by at all.
Blake said too good, and it was. Trouble was, it was out. Look good off the racket. Yeah, you can see the friendship between these two, but they're hitting the cover of the board. It's 6-5 to Blake in this opening set. So is there anything to do on return? You suggest perhaps that Blake might take it a little bit further back, the Roddick serve?
Yes, I think just give him a little bit of something different to look at. Players are reluctant to do that, I know, particularly in a first set. Very often the only time they'll look to change is if they're a set and way down in the second and almost in desperation to it. But just standing where he is, he's only won 3 points on the Roddick serve. I know it's not easy. Roddick could swing him wide, but at least it would be forcing Roddick to do something a little different. And there's surely no harm in that. The irony is they've never played a tiebreaker, and as well as they're serving here, of course, the point is that Blake does not normally serve quite as well as this. You can see the low ball there, Roddick's head just turning over a little too soon, head of the racket that is.
So Roddick serving to stay in this first set, 5-6. Another monster serve, 211 Ks. 8th ace.
Ironic that he should then really take the pace off and look to serve and volley. Just 171, lose a point. I think he'd won something like 10 or 11 points in a row prior to that. Just by blasting.
And that was 225.
Yes, play that again, because that was fairly criminal.
So it's tie-break time after just half an hour. It's amazing. Less than 3 minutes a game.
Yes, and as I was saying, the 13th set between these two, and nary a tie-break. Both winning records, 10-7 Blake, Roddick 15-10. Umpire's mic was switched off. He did say first serve, but nobody could hear him.
Oh dear. A calamity.
Well, that was just such a gimme. He was far too casual.
And the way that Roddick served to go a mini break down like that is unforgivable. He may get back, but you wouldn't bet on it. $219 Ks. He thinks it was wide of that centre line, and Roddick's given it to him. Who needs officials? Yeah, well, he deserved that, didn't he? 201 only, that one. Blake may feel a little aggrieved because, of course, it should have been a second serve, according to him.
Probably was.
It's head right through. I hadn't thought of that. 224 Ks. It's getting quicker and quicker.
Wind assisted there.
Yeah. Seems like it. He's missed it. Well, he should have wrapped the set up really with this.
Yes, had the time, but not the skill.
So it's still just one mini break he trails by. But not the penetration now behind the serve, and Roddick looking good right here. A 2 mini break cushion.
Yes, Roddick has to play tennis here in Basel because it's so close to Germany and France. He's got to actually play tennis with a passport in his pocket. He runs such a long way to get round that backhand at times to play the forehand.
Well played, James Blake. What a return. There's the talent I was talking about earlier.
Yes, he liked that 1-2, vindicating, just taking up the same position, perhaps. And he's got to do it again. Left it and oops.
Yeah, the volleying not good enough from Roddick. And Blake pounces again. And he's right back in this breaker.
Well, this is the essential thing. He gives himself a lot of scope here, does Blake. You see, he's not actually going for the line. He's saying, well, the chances are Roddick's going to volley this, but I'm not sure he's going to really hit too good a volley.
So he took both points off the Roddick sequence of serves there. Oh, I think he was shocked that we had what almost constitutes a rally then.
And then blowing it to that extent. He's actually coming in on the forehand, it seemed.
So the initiative again to Roddick.
Yeah, certainly trying to curl it to the forehand side.
Two set points then. Well, he's making it tough for himself.
Yes, he was ill prepared, wasn't he, for a fine return by Blake, mind you.
That's how much it means to him, beating his mate here. Well played, James Blake. Again, he's fought back.
There's good coverage of the net by Blake, with Roddick just jerking a little bit as he played the two-hander, giving it much too much air. Sort of rubberized surface, this court. They may just have grazed the fingers, but shouldn't have hurt too much.
At the moment, both of them are doing the difficult things marvellously well and slipping up on the simple things. Here's a third set point, and it's behind the Roddick serve. .208 km/h, his 10th ace. Quick fire stuff. Two sharpshooters and not holding back, shooting from the hip. And a tie-break set that took just 37 minutes, so 4 minutes shorter than you have on the screen.
Hi, Mum. How's it going? UK's great. Weather's diabolical. I'm well. Keeps buying houses with...
With MTL Home's international call plan, you can call 30 countries from as little as 5 p.m. minute.
Garden, though. Playing cricket. Bowl a bit, bat a bit, catch a lot. Had a barbie, burn the chops. Dog ate him. He's okay.
So relax.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Jane's pregnant. Love to Dad. Bye.
From now on, you can spend that little bit longer on the phone. Call 0800 183 0123 to find out how much you could save. NTL Home. One line's all you need.
Yeah, no, completely booked. Wednesday, let's see.
The NTL Guide from NTL Home not only gives you over 200 pages of cable TV listings,
No.
but also features and special offers, and it's just £1 a month for NTL Home customers.
Tuesday? Oh, we're very busy that
Don't
day.
miss your favourite programmes.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? I know.
To subscribe to the NTL Guide, call 0800 052 0463.
The Swiss Indoor Tournament with...
So, if you like your tennis tough and quick, this is the match for you. James Blake is set down now. It's red raw as Roddick's shirt.
50 love.
That's his 12th ace.
Starting where he left off. Lost 7 points in his serve in the first.
And a number of those were in the breaker.
Absolutely, yes. Up until the break, it was only 4. And Blake lost 14 on his. So undeniably, Roddick had the better of the set.
Gorgeous shot.
And he didn't seem to hit it all that high, but sometimes moving Roddick must be like moving a redwood tree. Yes, you've got to have some patience with Roddick at times, because there perhaps the toweling down was needed, and sometimes he'll serve an ace and walk and towel down. But as Simon says, without even moving, the engine is working.
Yeah, the backhand volley wasn't bad, but the forehand put him into trouble. And it's the forehand volley that's most vulnerable.
Yes, it's always a bit more difficult on the stretch too to control it for most players. Blake's got a fine backhand down the line.
Second time in Basel for Roddick. Came here last year, got to the quarter-final, lost to Roger Federer. And of course went on to the final, lost to Henman. We just tuned in. Good news, Tim Henman's through to the quarter-final. But he came from a set down to beat Nicolas Escudé, 1-6, 6-3, 6-2. It's Blake's first time here. Love one. Oh, yes. Again, another example of that sublime talent that he has. What a wonderfully conceived shot.
Yes, terrific footwork to get into position, and just the steadying of the hand for the stop volley. On the sublime.
Yeah, absolutely. And they come back a lot quicker than that from Roddick. Just missed. Again, it's Roddick who makes the movement, spearing in behind the slice.
Well, the more he plays that slice, the better he's getting with it. He may, well, in time, ignore his two-hander.
Again, a ball that didn't get up at all. But Blake holds on. 14 games now with serve. Just the one break point in the opening game on Blake's serve.
Certainly comes in handy, that two-hander, doesn't it, when the serve is headed that sort of pace. You see the speed there, 184. Blake could do with a left hand on racket sometimes against this man.
I think he's ruined the speed gun. That's at 179. It was a lot quicker than that.
Yes, I think they had problems with it last year too, and we made some comment about the reliability of Swiss timing.
That must have been you, Fru. I wouldn't have said anything like that.
No. Leader of the band.
Oh, yes. Pete Sampras, eat your heart out.
Yes, he had one of these yesterday, and I think he really laps it up.
Yeah, I don't think Sampras ever got quite that high. Blake getting nowhere near solving the problem of the Roddick serve. It's 2-1 in set number 2.
There's a new face in the city. And there's a new face in the bush. Introducing Sorrento, the new face of Kia.
The Swiss Indoor Tournament with...
This was the first rally of this fourth game. Blake with an errant forehand, putting himself under a little bit of pressure.
Yes, and Roddick's actions when he walked back from the chair were that he was going to do something special in this game, like break.
Didn't sound good at all.
He was a long way back, and he almost seemed to be moving back when he was playing it. Didn't get his act together there.
Well played. Kept really cool. He knows how electric Roddick can be, but he was sure-footed there.
Yes, realised he had the man on the stretch, and Roddick runs well, but he's oddly the fastest man on the court.
Roddick getting himself in a real tangle on the serve. Blake finishing him off.
Well, not playing the two-handers too badly, but just not enough power, and with Blake anticipating them correctly. Certainly got to work on extra snap on that backhand side, as Roddick.
Hear the groan. Crowd here in Basel have really taken to the style that he exudes, but he's put himself under a bit of pressure here. The forehand not working at all. And now the backhand. This has been his worst game so far. And Roddick, without having to do too much, has got a break point here. The second of the match.
How's Blake going to play it? When he looked to come in early.
Well done. Cool as you like, Blake. Must have been difficult seeing Roddick gasping on the floor and then making a meal of getting up.
Just a super backhand down the line, because Roddick ripped the reins from Blake by running around the backhand and playing the big forehand.
Weathers the storm. Not so impressive in that game, Blake, but he's still alive.
Yes, did the right things at the right time. That backhand down the line so good, and Roddick, well, he came close. He told us all by his actions he was going to break Blake. And didn't he come close? The backhand there still not hurting enough.
There's another hurtful serve. Ace number 15 makes it 15 love. Certainly gives the crowd their money's worth.
Yes, in baseball, of course, they'd be able to keep the balls. Be a nice gesture in tennis, really. That last game, incidentally, only the second deuce game of the match. There's not been one on the Roddick serve.
Oh, glorious return. His best for a long, long while. Don't think it's going to be too influential there. But at least it's something to remember.
Yes. Could well be muttering, I need to do it at on the first point, or at 15 all or something, rather than 40 love down.
Sure enough. Another big serve, 217 Ks that one. Roddick in front again, a set, and 3-2 he leads. Welcome back. Hope you're enjoying this on British Eurosport and Eurosport International if you're watching outside the UK or even in the UK. James Blake against Andy Roddick, a shootout here. 10 minutes to 8 local time.
Love 50.
Yes, the second and the fourth ranked Americans, of course, Agassi at the top and Sampras sandwiched in between Roddick and Blake. And an American umpire.
Yeah. I always thought that was going to be Roddick's rally. He plays that kind of rally better. I know it was close, but you knew it was Blake who was going to go for it first.
Yes, and funny enough, Roddick resisted using the two-hander to really try and clobber the ball. The one-hander's pretty effective at keeping the rally going. But that's the way to play. That's what Blake really ought to be using a lot more of, instead of just rallying with Roddick. Come in on the backhand. If he's going to play single-handers, he's not going to ram them past you. Yes, you could see frustration beginning to rise with Roddick. Chances in the last two Blake service games.
First ace of this set for Blake. He looked really good in the end there. And we're level again. Blake, who won the Challenger at the beginning of the year, went to Waikoloa in Hawaii. Can't blame him for that.
No, some challenge.
Love 50.
I remember leaving Hawaii once to go back to California, taking some papaya with me. And they said, oh, you can't take that into California, fine. And I think they expected me to leave it. I ate it there and then at the airport. There were about 4 of them. I wasn't going to leave papaya behind.
Yeah, I can imagine Blake has a laid-back attitude to life, really liking Hawaii. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back there every year.
There's the toweling off after the ace. Elise couldn't quite understand some of it last night, but I think Blake's used to it. Oh.
Did he hear something behind him? Yes, he did. Thought he just collapsed. Yes, the backhand is a treat in the forecourt, not the forehand.
Well, he climbed up well to it, didn't he, Roddick? Because Blake was pretty fast on this.
Good return. Suddenly he's got a couple of points on the Roddick serve.
And threatens a deuce.
Yes, great point. All the quickness and athleticism and power of Roddick, and Blake bringing the best out of him again. Gorgeous to watch, and well placed that shot. Blake across so quick, and a backbreaker. Roddick in front again, 4 games to 3.
The Swiss Indoor Tournament.
World's best tennis, presented by Saracen, official bank of Davidoff Swiss Indoors.
Quick as lightning he is, both in serve and everything he does. Popular guy, Roddick. Just a feeling that he hasn't really advanced this year. A lot of people thought he'd be a top 5 player by now.
Yes, I think he still falls short in a few departments, those I've mentioned, particularly the backhand. Not quite severe enough on the pass. And even the forehand sometimes, as hard as he appears to hit it, there is so often so much spin on it that it doesn't actually go for the outright winner you would expect. You've got to perhaps learn to flatten it a bit. But you can never criticize him for lack of effort.
No. No, I'll never forget that French Open match against Michael Chang last year. He almost had to be carried off. Whoa, yes, take that. Didn't seem to be any room down there. But he's Hawkeye.
Wow, this is a magnificent forehand. Really had a motor to get that. Oh, and even then,
yes. Blake must have thought his world was ending there.
Roddick actually had time to run around and play the forehand, but I think figured he had such an easy shot that he may as well use the backhand.
Blake needs his serve to fire. Does play the big points well, Blake.
Certainly doing a good job in these last 3 service games. What, break point, love 30 again. You can imagine Roddick's inner feelings at the moment.
But here's another big point coming up right now. Break point, if Roddick gets it, he'll be serving for a place in the quarter-final. Big shot. No radar gun on that forehand, but it was motoring. No wonder he puffs his cheeks out.
Yes, he did well to push himself back for the smash, didn't he? Because that was a pretty good lob off the backhand by Roddick.
There's so much of a mixture this game from Blake. Again, he's put himself in shtuk. Break point once more. Well, he has missed it. And that may be the match gone. It should be the match gone. Roddick slipping at the end there, but he's okay. Now, is Roddick going to have the trainer? Yeah.
Ankle, I think.
Went over on his ankle. It seemed okay. Ah. He's got some strapping there already. So maybe there's a weakness there. But that's interesting. Let's see if we can pick it here. Right there. Blake hitting the big forehand. Maybe it's the next shot.
Oh, just there.
Yeah.
Left ankle.
Yes, he went down, has been shot. He's never knowingly undersold, is he, this guy? Remember at Roland Garros when he was cramping. Certainly wasn't faking it, but he wasn't hiding it.
No. And he's obviously prepared here.
Yes.
Tailor-made. It's probably always going to be a concern with Roddick and his supporters. He just gives so, I was going to say wholeheartedly, but it's the whole body that gives. And there's such a lot of him to move about. These sort of things, I think, are going to be always with him.
So is that going to be a shoe within a shoe, or is it the shoe itself?
I think it's within, I would think. No sole on it.
No. Be interesting to see if he can get the other shoe on.
It's a real harness.
Not sure if he's called for the trainer. I think he's doing it himself. Well, it's perfectly legal.
Yes. The umpire's got the walkie-talkie in his hand, but On the other hand, maybe he's just listening to classical FM.
Sorry. Whatever the equivalent is here. Well, the shoe is on, and here he comes. So after an hour and just over 10 minutes, Roddick serving for the match.
The last thing Blake wants to do is make unforced errors. Needs to prey on the ankle.
It's a big serve, but he's got lightning reflexes and fancied he could use them then. But he needs spring heels to get to that one. 216 Ks, ace number 18, 3 match points for Roddick. Oh, fantastic. What a way to finish. 205 Ks out wide. And Andy Roddick, for the second successive year, is through to the quarter-final here in Basel.
Well, he's the sort of guy, if he does have ankle problems, it needn't bother him, because he doesn't have to move too much if he can hit the serve like that, as long as he doesn't injure his shoulder.
He doesn't want to do a Henman, does he, really? Not Andy Roddick. But he's through. And it was dynamic. Not quite the battle that we hoped for, but he's won it in the end pretty convincingly. 7-6, 6-3. So Blake's run here in his first time in Basel finishes in the second round. And Roddick goes through to play either Roger Federer or the German qualifier Alexander Vasky, who beat George Basel. Roddick saying he'll take the ball himself. In the crowd it goes. Signed, sealed and delivered, and very proudly caught as well.
Yes, trust him to find the stars and stripes in the crowd.
So that's how it looks. Tim Henman already through, beating Nicolas Escudé from a set down. He plays either Agustin Caleri or David Nalbandian of the Argentine. Federer, Vasky still to come. The winner there plays Andy Roddick. And in the bottom half of the draw, it's Fernando Gonzalez from Chile against Arnaud Clement, and Felix Mantilla, who beat Ivo Heuberger today, and Juan Carlos Ferrero. Roddick here with Heinz Guntard.
Well done, Andy. Well, you had us worried there for a second with your foot. How does it feel?
It's hurting a bit right now, to be honest. This is a pretty sticky surface. I probably should have been wearing my braces the whole time, but I'm going to go see my trainer and the ATP trainer right now, and we'll see what they say.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Have you had problems with that foot before that you had the brace with you in the back?
Yeah, up until I hurt my other one in Australia this year, and I wore braces for 6 months of the year, and I switched off because I feel like my mobility is better without them, but I think I might go back to them for the rest of the season.
Well, when he looks at your foot, he should also look at your hand. I mean, the amount of diving you were doing out there is quite extraordinary. Is it something you practice, or that just happens in the spirit of the moment?
Yeah, well, both the times I dove, they're pretty important points, and if I almost dug one out for a big point, and if that's what it takes to get a big point, then I'll do it.
Do you do any other sports besides tennis? Maybe baseball or something like that, where you can practice the diving? I mean,
no, it's not much. You know, there's not much to it. I think pretty much any person in the world can just take a dive.
if he's ambitious enough, or if he's mad enough, or can you normally do it without injuring yourself? Is this almost like unlucky that you did, or?
It's not a specialty of mine. This looked a lot worse than it was. It's pretty much just a flesh wound. It was bleeding a lot more than it was actually hurting me.
And you played James, and you obviously know each other extremely well. You won 6 in a row against him. Now, when you go out there and you play against someone you know well, you probably practice sometimes together as well, I mean, especially in Davis Cup, and you win 5 in a row. Does that give you like a big edge on big points?
I don't know. James and I are good friends, and it's always tough to play someone that you really respect and enjoy being around. And 6 in a row, that's pretty lucky on my part. I mean, I'm not 6 wins in a row better than James, and he's going to get me one of these times. I've just been lucky enough this far.
Well, thank you very much, and a quick outlook to the match coming up. Since we're Swiss and we're in Switzerland, Roger is playing well. He's playing a qualifier. What can we expect from Alexander Waske and Roger Federer out there?
Obviously, I think Roger's the favorite. Waske, I haven't seen him play much, but I know that he has a very big serve. Mm-hmm. And but this is Roger's house. This is this is where he plays good tennis year after year. So I think Waske's going to have his hands full.
Well, thank you very much, and best of luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thanks a lot.